It's safe to say that the old Cape Crusader has received his fair share of reboots. From this, to this,
I'm Batman,
to this.
Why did you say that name?
However, a particular favourite of mine is Batman 1989. And in this video, I'm going to explain why. Holy obvious statement, Batman. Shut up, Robin. The reasons I believe this movie to be the best Batman movie can be divided into 4 parts: style, characters, plot, and music. First things first, let's talk about style. Something that I, a basement-dwelling virgin, am more than qualified to talk about. In all seriousness though, one of the first things that jumped out to me about this movie was the visual style. Because bear in mind, the only Batman movie we had before this looked like this.
Quick! Everyone! Flee for your lives!
Emergency. Batman speaking. Warning all of you to brace yourselves for big news.
The biggest.
Tell them, Robin.
Holy superlatives, Batman!
So to go from that to this dark, dingy Gotham City felt bold and refreshing to me. In addition, the use of colour in this movie is in my opinion outstanding. It keeps the colour palette very dark with lots of blacks and greys, which not only gives us a sense of how desolate and depressing Gotham is, it also makes the villain, aka the Joker, stand out a lot more, as his scenes, his costumes and even his props are the only ones with any sort of flamboyant colour on them, which helps the audience visualise the difference between the law and order that Batman and the rest of Gotham want to enforce, with greys and blacks representing order and authority, with the bright colours the Joker plasters himself with representing anarchy and chaos. Speaking of which, let's talk about the characters. Now, I'll bet you £100 that the minute I start praising this Batman, there will be someone in the comments saying, but this Batman is bad because he isn't accurate to the comics, therefore he sucks. And to that I say, you have been spoiled. What I mean by that is nowadays it's commonplace to see hyper-accurate depictions of comic book characters, but in 1989, the very idea of a big-budget superhero blockbuster didn't really exist. I mean, sure, we had the 60s movie, as I mentioned, but that movie was based around a TV show rather than being solely based off the comics. Therefore, it was more of a tie-in to the TV show rather than a cinematic depiction of Batman and his alter ego. Anyway, nerd tangents aside, considering this was the first depiction of Batman on screen, they nailed the motivation behind Bruce Wayne becoming Batman and the fact that Bruce Wayne is the mask that Batman uses to keep people from forming close bonds with, which, if you look at the list of romantic relationships Bruce has had, hasn't worked very well for him. The only aspect that they failed to grasp was Batman's no killing rule. However, I feel like it's a lot more forgivable in this movie as opposed to something like Batman vs Superman, because at that point people knew better. In addition, Batman uses a frickin' shotgun. It's also a lot less obvious that Batman is killing people than it is in, say, Batman Returns. I mean, sure, the Joker dies, but at least he's not doing this. That aside though, a big reason that this version of Batman works is the performance given by Michael Keaton, who perfectly balances the calm, calculating nature of Bruce Wayne with the brooding and violence of Batman. Michael Keaton is also the only actor who can pull off smiling in that batsuit. Of course, you can't talk about this movie without talking about Mr. J himself, played by Jack Nicholson. Who is one of, if not the best, live-action Joker in my opinion. I think his Joker and Heath Ledger's depiction of the Joker represent two sides of the same coin, with Ledger representing a highly realistic depiction of the Joker and insanity as a whole, while Jack's Joker takes a more comedic, comic booky approach, with the hand buzzers and fake guns galore. And I gotta be honest, while Heath Ledger's performance will go down in history as one of the most iconic performances ever, I find the 89 Joker to be a lot more fun to watch, and is closer to what I perceive as the Joker, if that makes any sense. In terms of the other characters though, Vicky Vale is definitely a product of the time, who's mostly just there to scream and look pretty. Knox offers some pretty good comedic relief, but very little else, and Bob is one of the most iconic characters to come out of this movie, despite not actually saying anything. I mean, for God's sake, he even has his own action figure. Mummy, I want a Bob Batman figure for Christmas. Anyway, when looking at it now, with the context of huge superhero crossover movies such as Infinity War and Endgame, it's easy to see this movie's plot as basic and bare bones by comparison. However, I personally find beauty in the simpler plot, which masterfully introduces the protagonist, antagonist, setting, and a whole host of side characters. Speaking of the introduction of Batman and the Joker, something novel about this Batman story is that the villain gets more backstory than the hero does, which in most movies wouldn't work. But in this movie, one of the major plot elements was uncovering the mystery of the Bat and the man behind it, so the lesser backstory actually works in the story's favour. It is also speculated that the decision was made to put more focus on Jack, as he was the star name, which makes sense as his name is listed before Michael Keaton's on the posters. In addition, the movie's plot is a lot more entertaining than something like the Dark Knight trilogy, for example, which is very realistic, as I stated earlier, which has its own charm and place in the comic book film industry. However, if we're talking about what I personally prefer, I would much rather watch the entertainingly funny, darkly hilarious film like Batman 89, as opposed to a crime drama in a Batman costume that I felt the Dark Knight trilogy represented, but to each their own, I suppose. To summarise the plot, for all you I haven't seen the movie enthusiasts out there, the plot revolves around a high-level thug named Jack Napier, who is set up by his boss, who informs the police that his band of merry men are infiltrating Ace Chemicals. This causes everyone's favourite leather rodent to swoop in, causing Jack to fall into a vat of radioactive acid. Meanwhile, everyone in Gotham is trying to figure out who this mysterious Bat character is, while the sight of Jack's face causes him to go insane, turning him into the psychopathic children's entertainer we all love to hate. It is also revealed that Jack is the one who killed Batman's parents, which is a departure from the established lore, however works fine in this film, giving Batman and the Joker a personal connection, which leads to a final conflict at the Bell Tower. Finally, let's talk about the music. Now admittedly, music is not something I'm very well versed in. However, I can tell you that the score composed by Danny Elfman is beyond excellent, so much so gone on to be used in many other Batman projects, such as, most recently, Justice League, and, most importantly to 9-year-old me, Lego Batman 2, which to this day is one of my favourite Batman games, only beaten by the Arkham series. So in conclusion, this Batman movie serves as one of the best introductions to a superhero I've ever seen, with great music, fantastic performances by the two leads, and supporting cast, with a particular standout to me being Michael Gough, who delivers an understated yet comedic performance that is the first thing I think of when I think of Alfred. The plot, whilst not being comic accurate, certainly is entertaining and sets up all these characters well, as well as establishing the world of Gotham, brought to life brilliantly by one of the most unique creatives of all time. So I suppose my question is, why does this film get so much hate? As I see many people slandering this movie as nothing more than inaccurate fluff. And to be honest, I think most of it comes down to this mob mentality to love whatever is current or popular, such as the Dark Knight trilogy, and dismiss anything old as cheesy and dated. Whereas to me, the only thing that sticks out to me as dated are the special effects. But aside from that, this movie, in my opinion, is the best Batman movie. But let me know what you think down in the comments below. Now please stay tuned for some exciting offers and promotions.
Oh hey gang, look at this! Channel Goat is back! But he's got bad news. His computer was hacked by the Adzinco gang, and they leaked his private information. And now his goat cojones are there for everybody to see. Ah man, that's quite a predicament you got there, Channel Goat. And the thing is, you're not the only one. Do you know how many people get hacked per year and have their personal information and data spread online for all to see? A lot. Like, look it up. And I know what the rest of you are thinking. It hasn't happened to me, yet. Well, Emphasis on yet. I mean, how old are you? Right, now how long is the average human lifespan? That's a lot of time that you could get hacked in. And by the time that's done, everybody is gonna know what your PP looks like. Do you really want that? Do you really want the world to see your PP? You run that risk every single day, guys. Seriously, hackers, pretty talented people. Which is why I, for one, use NordVPN to protect my private information and my Nords. It shuffles your data so that it can't be found by hackers, but not only that, it can also unlock the worldwide range of Netflix. And like, who wouldn't want that, right? Now you can really maximize your subscription. The fact is, guys, you could save yourself the stress and a lawsuit by simply browsing with NordVPN. And I've made it easy for you. A link is in the description below. And this subscription comes with a promise. Nobody has to know what you're into anymore. You little furry, you. Anyway, sign up today. Seriously, do it. Please? For your sweet little puppy? This video is brought to you by Zentai for all your cosplay needs. Link is in the description below and they are very cool and good. Cosplay your favorite characters or send in one of your own designs. Affordable prices and very high quality. Made to order and made to measure. But most of all, made to be heckin' awesome, if you couldn't already tell. Guys, can you believe where we are now and where we started? How long ago it was that Channel Pup, or Channel Go even, came about? Because it really wasn't that long when you think about it. Can you believe the amount of support I've received from this community, from all of you subscribing to the channel and everything? It's unreal. It's a dream come true for me. But behind the YouTubers you watch usually comes a bit of a truth, is that they're often dirt poor. Now, I've had the good fortune of being able to grow this YouTube channel and hopefully turn it into a career, but I'm gonna need a little bit of help along the way, to even the odds to make ends meet, so that I can use all of the possible time that I have to make videos for you guys, as opposed to doing something mundane, for barely enough money to make it worth its while. I've done all that, I've lived that life. The fact is, together we all built Channel Pup, we made it what it is today, and I want to keep the ball rolling on that. I don't ever want to stop doing this, because this is the most gratifying job I've ever had, and I think the most pleasurable hobby anyone could ever have. I don't take any of the support that I receive from you guys for granted, but if in any way you're wondering if maybe you could do a little more for the channel even, then I want to direct you to the Patreon link in the description below. It would mean the world to me to have your support via Patreon. It can help me to make ends meet, it can help me to better my content, it can help me to have more time to really work on this stuff. But you know what, I'm not just gonna take your support and run. No way, Jose. In the Patreon, you can access exclusive videos via the Pups Project Room playlist, where you can see different projects that I've been working on or have worked on that have either not made it to YouTube for general viewing or have been cancelled, or, well, you can get a little view of the process that goes behind the Channel Pup videos and productions. As well as that, you tend to get advanced previews of the bigger Channel Pup projects, our tentpole event projects. If you've seen Marvelous Tales of Spider-Man, you'll be aware that that was released on the Patreon first, and 20 days later approximately was released for general viewing on YouTube. That's not the only time I'm gonna do this. But you know what? If you can't do the Patreon, or are just not interested in doing the Patreon, I fully understand. Like, it's still a big ask in my opinion. And what counts most is your support. So, as always, thank you so much, guys. I've been Channel Pup, and I will think of a better catchphrase next time. Now please leave me alone!